Well, afternoon, guys. What's going on? Greetings, my fellow zombies out there, emotionally deprived and sleep deprived. How are we doing today? It's 1:35 Pacific Standard Time PM, and it's January 13th, 2023. This is the Weaver. This is the diary of the griever named John Weaver. That'd be me. All right. So you're probably wondering what was going on with all those videos I kept posting out there. Uh, Without the headers that people would try to search for. Yeah, I know. I got lazy on these damn things. Just wanted to get them out there. I generally don't have any descriptions except they're just logs about things going on in my life. And I know they got a one programming number on there, but that's all right. How am I doing physically and mentally? That'll tell you. It's like the rest of us out there, guys. We're still dealing with the after effects of the grieving. We're dealing with the after effects of depression that comes in after the thing. It's like seeing a tidal wave hitting and re-hitting the same areas over and over again, and the wake is all that's left. The pickup and the cleanup, and how long it takes, and how very depressing and sad it is that not enough effort is trying to put into it to clean up the clutterage. Emotionally and spiritually, it's how I feel at times, especially when I get triggered left and right. And believe me, it's happening more and more. It's like it's repeating the same cycle as it did last year. And that's what scares the hell out of me even worse. I need to contact, and I hadn't contacted them yet. So what happens when you get to the depression situations? But I know people say, you're too lazy for this damn thing. You need to get motivation. What's with you? What's wrong with you? How come you're like this? We don't understand. You. You're making us feel sorry for yourself. Why are you doing this? You should be. You should be. You should. And how many times have I come across that all throughout my damn life, all the way up to the present? And one attitude or another, in one spoken sentence, or an unspoken word, or an action taken in body language. Way too many times. I even come across this with the people, online regarding the situation. And they're also having the same situations, and they're also asking themselves the same questions. They can't get people to talk to them, except for those who are suffering through this thing. Because anybody outside the grieving process, anything outside the ones who are suffering through this thing, they don't get it. But I've heard different arguments and discussions concerning about how this is supposed to be handled one way or another by so-called experts, the PhDs out there, the doctors, the ones with the Bachelor of Arts somehow, or the MDs, or the MAs, or whatever kind of collegiate abbreviation they're using these days. I'm just barely chasing the AA myself. I'm not chasing after the higher ones. I don't think I got enough time in my life to do such a thing. I wasted that. Long stories on that. I got videos to tell you about those. But regards to what I'm seeing these days, concerning about what people are saying and feeling these days, they're feeling like, give me a second here. I'm getting up. Damn it. Oh, God. I'm getting too damn old for my own good. Okay. Either now. Okay. Hang this damn thing up. Oh, yeah, how's the bug war going on? It's still going. These guys are hiding again. It's daylight. But they'll stay in the artificial light for a short time. But direct sunlight, they can't stand it. So in the short days time, I'm actually able to function somewhat. If not, go through the depressional stages one more time to put me into a damn chokehold. Or worse, a wrestler's hold to knock me out. Yeah, say hello to the neighbor's dogs outside. Life happens beyond the doors and beyond the windows. And as many people as I've been talking to online concerning about their own grieving status, they're also feeling the same way. Some of them can actually try to get outside the door to function with other people. I do have a few neighbors over here that do keep tabs on me if I'm actually able to walk outside the door and meet with them, and then we'll talk. But the one major thing we don't really cover in great detail because it's always too personal, too intimate, and this is the thing that really scares the living crap out of them. And this is the thing I don't even hear coming from the damn therapists and the damn doctors of all sorts concerning about this, because this is the most intimate, embarrassing, humiliating, and the gut wrenching, soul opening, bearing everything else out topic that anybody else could talk about. Oh, hell, they'll talk about Dr. Ruth Vessheimer back in the 80s and 90s. But we're talking about grieving. We're talking about mourning. We're talking about losing a person that's half your body, half your soul, half your essence is gone, and all you feel like is, what the hell happened to my world? The pain, the confusion, the loss. Everything gone, destroyed. Then what do? You listen to everyone else trying to give you the sage advice of, you should, you should, you should, you should. Is there such a thing called sage advice these days? I haven't found it. I've listened and I've read some of these people, and I've heard and I read and try to discover if they're full of it or not. Does it match up with what I'm dealing with? Does it match up with any of the things I'm going through? Do they understand that each pain, each person is different, unique, but it's still the same thing? We got robbed, we got cheated. Life put us over here for living for a short time, then afterwards, the people we made contact with and we made some serious relationships with, taken out of our lives. That buildup, that trust, that love, whatever was deeply connected to us, ripped out of us. It's like, try this. Take your heart, rip it out of your chest, and let's see how you deal with it. And while it's still trying to beat and while it's still trying to function, stick it into a Cuisinart and stick it in there for grind. And if your heart's actually able to transmit the information to your brain is going to detect a massive amount of pain. And yet it's not even there. It's already been ripped out of your chest. Think of it this way. At one time in my earlier videos, I connected it with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Mull-Around, the major meatball villain in there. He likes sacrifice. He likes pain, blood, and everything else. He goes to this poor peasant. He's got trapped in a cage. He's about to be roasted alive in a pit of volcanic soup down there. And Mull-Around trying to get his thuggies, his followers, to really go ape. Mull-Around takes his hand into the guy's chest and he says some words and he pulls out the guy's heart still beating. And he's like, hey! Yeah, well, sometimes I feel like fate and death and life and everything else doing that to my heart. Of all the people I've loved and cared about. I'll wrap them into one thing here. And then you shove the body down into the volcano that burned to crisp. And then you see your heart being burned to crisp. And you're still feeling the damn thing. It's like an emptiness. It's like an empty essence that can't be filled by any physical or almost seemingly metaphysical crap. Or if your beliefs are strong enough, maybe you'll be lucky enough to go through it. Like somebody else is going to be giving you other kind of metaphysical advice. That's on you, not on me. I'm just struggling for survival, praying up a storm. Just for forgiveness for something I don't even know what the hell I did. Praying that my family would forgive me for going through this damn thing. That I am mourning too much and I'm grieving too much and I'm crying too damn much because I'm getting triggered too much. The trigger words they happen to relate are on a lot of levels. It's like a massive spider web without a concentric circle. It's just there with the crisscrosses. There's no set central area that you can pinpoint it. Unless, of course, you got a nice big huge rip that's ripping the whole thing apart. And every one of those shreds and every one of those threads are things connected to it, just wafting through the wind. And the pain that it generates throughout it. Oh. Anything regarding family, in every which way, that's what hurts. I've set myself up too many times watching different shows or coming across different people and seeing the interactions. But knowing that I see more of the triggers happening in the fictional stuff that I used to put blinders on. Growing up as a kid, we were taught we had to be strong and brave. We were taught by the adults, we were taught by the medical establishments, we had to be strong and brave. We had to follow the rules. We had to. People wonder how come these days, and even the doctors are scratching their heads at this point over here, how we are so mentally screwed up. And how come we are growing more and more, and they're barely scratching the surface of understanding how and why. All this grieving, all this loss, all this pain, all this mental deficiencies we're experiencing right now. Or should I call it mental illness at this point? For some of us, we actually either been born with the mental illness or we had it developed. Now, as I tried to explain in my own videos on how the hell I got this way, I was born a month too early. I was born with a sickly heart. Plumbing issues. I had mitral valves leaking up the storm. So I had bad blood and good blood mixing in with each other. No wonder I was sick all the damn time. They couldn't even figure it out until the age of 4 years old. When a sharp-eared cardiologist heard, and then in the next minute I know I'm in a community hospital getting admitted before transport to a major hospital. Before I started planning out on how to save my damn heart without me dying in the process. You talk about terrifying? You talk about absolutely terrifying? I was absolutely sick during those days. Barely remember living in an oxygen tent in a hospital bed sometimes. That was scary. It was terrifying seeing my mother and my brother outside and my grandmother looking at me, wondering if I'm going to be surviving or not. And I didn't know a damn thing. I'm a young kid. 4 years old. I'm supposed to be communicated at this point over here. The only thing I know is I am terrified. Or even when they try to stick when he put me into a cath lab just to see where the damage in the heart was. Fluoroscopes. I had to be unconscious. I woke up in the process. My arm is barricaded by this metal thing. And there's a tube, and my arm's sticking in it. And they got the things going in here. And I'm terrified because there's nobody there to calm me down. They pulled them out, and then put me back in my hospital bed. And I'm like a pure terrified child. Yeah, that's basically what I was a 4-year-old. Because now they're going to get me ready for the next day. They couldn't wait. The main show was about to begin. Oh boy, what a main show that was. Now, some of it I had to remember out of reconstruction because what my mother was telling me after I told her and somehow lost track of all that damn data in my developing brain. I should have remembered everything. I told everything to Mom and somehow forgot it. That was a hell of a terrifying experience for me. But they put me under. They cracked open my chest. They put me on a heart bypass machine. They opened up the heart and they went to work. And I died. And I see my body on the ground, actually in the table, and I'm floating up towards the white light. And then I'm hearing this voice saying, John, it's not your time. Go back. I want to go home. It's not your time. Go back. 3 times up and 3 times back, the same message. I didn't realize somebody upstairs got the prayer of keeping me alive for my family. All I remember is recovering in a hospital for about a week or two before I came home. Then I really had to take it easy on my chest. Except being a young active kid who didn't listen to much, I had a problem with mutilating my body one way or another. Damn near ate a car's tire after breaking my elbow in 3 places. Or how about going into a car accident, damn near dying in it. Or in between that, a pool party, falling into a damn swimming pool, the elevated kind, the 4-footers with the metal rims on it. Oh, those are beautiful when it comes down for nose and metal. Blood all the way. I kept my mother in hock when it came down for medical bills. I don't know how the hell she survived it. I don't know how the hell I survived it. Somehow or another, there was something above trying to keep me alive. All I know is I was having a hard time trying to deal with life, and I was having a hard time trying to deal with death and even spirituality. I had a few times when I actually had been experienced that kind of energy level. At times, a real crisis when I was really praying my ass off left and right. Once for keeping my aunt alive from having a heart attack, and another one, I don't know what for. I was at a camping trip, YMCA, some kind of initiation, and boom, felt the same energy level, which I recognized at the same time I had the heart surgery and the time praying for my aunt. Again, I've talked about these things in my videos a long time ago. I just don't remember which ones they were. But I had a hell of a time trying to live through life and survive it. I felt, why was I still here? I'm scared to go to church, but yet I went to church because my family went to church. But something about it, I wanted to get connected to it, and I didn't get connected to it. Sometimes I wish I still had that connection to that kind of energy level so I wouldn't have to be going through this damn thing. But I can tell you that when I started getting to the bandages on my heart and my soul at this point regarding the people and pets I lost throughout my lifetime, and sometimes I would crack and other times I would cry, but not in a major grieving or mourning level like I've been doing over the past decade. I lived with my mother all my life, basically. No, I didn't move out once. I stayed with her. It's source of safety, source of security, the source of family, and I didn't want to lose that for anything. And when she got older and sicker, my brother and I, as you see in the pictures, we stepped up our game. Last several years of Mama's life, as I've been trying to explain in different videos, we did the caregiving harder than we usually did. I had to work until I got injured on the job where I could no longer work. Dan Rare got killed and had PTSD after that. Try that one at a Walmart. See if you survive a damn tire fall on your face, and let's see if you come out of it alive. But I'm still here. Mentally screwed up and physically screwed up. It's a hell of a lot of resentments to have to a lot of people that did a lot of injury to me. I don't want it. I don't need it. I'm trying to deal and live and survive day by day. It's bad enough. life kicks you in the ass and you have to deal with it. You get relocated from one place to another place to another place, and me being a renter as I am, you get used to being a nomad. You don't have a place to call home. Every place is a home until you get kicked out of it. Then it's just another place that you used to live in. But the family stays together. The family stays together until death breaks us apart. Mama had dealt with hers. She dealt with all those loved ones she had grown up with: siblings, nephews, nieces, brothers, sisters, mother, great aunt, even the pets. All took a toll on her. I think it put a toll on her until she was ready to deal with it. She was ready to go home. I wasn't ready for her to go home. Either was Dave. But she went home. February 1st, LA fire fought like hell, got her back to barely alive. We sent her over to the AV hospital on the 19th. We had to sign her out, and next thing I knew, a week and a half, we just got her ashes. Meanwhile, at the time, me and my brother are fighting eviction from the damn apartment, trying to find another place to live, but hardly ever dealing with our grieving or mourning, and then we were totally depressed as hell. My brother was a recovering alcoholic. He went to a lot of meetings. I went with him. We talked to a lot of people. We had a lot of connections, but we still had a problem dealing with it all until we had a car broken down. Moved from another place to homelessness and then into this apartment. 3 years later, I'm putting his ashes over here. He suffered through a stroke, multiple transischemic attacks, they called it. He didn't want to live through a stroke or suffer through it. I think he willed himself to death. Right, leaves me to clean up all the damn mess. Emotionally, physically, and spiritually clean up the mess. Doesn't matter how screwed up I feel. Doesn't matter how much anger I feel talking about this situation over here. How unfair it seems. How unfair it is. And the thing of it, and the truth of the matter is, if life was totally fair, I wouldn't be here alive. I'd be dead already and up in heaven. And my family would have different lives. Either good or bad, I don't know. Well, all I know is we lived together and struggled together. And maybe somehow we made a difference in life. Made a difference in people's lives. I hope so. I made mistakes. I wasn't ready and mature enough for college coming out of high school. Wasted, I said, about 2.5 years, and it was 2.5 years. 2 years in one session, and then about another half year. Another session while I was trying to work full time, and it didn't work out too well, so I got screwed over. I couldn't cut it in college because I wasn't ready for it. Right after Ma's death, I guess there was an indication that Ma wanted me to continue at college, so I went back. But my brother went first to see if he could do it. Then after a semester, I went back and tried and helped him through his own year before he actually had a heart attack and couldn't do any more. I continued on for a few more years, and during that time I had to suffer his death. His anniversary is September 8th. Ma's actual should have been February 1st, but hers is February 19th. Dave's coming up on 5 years. Ma's coming up on 10. Every year it gets harder and harder. The birthdays, the death anniversaries, the times we celebrated in life are harder to deal with, including the damn memories. Sometimes I can't even remember what the hell we did on some of those days. Some of the special days that we've had, I can remember. It hurts like hell when I start doing it. I don't know how the hell I'm supposed to be able to get through it. I don't know how the hell I'm supposed to feel it. But I'm feeling it. I tried sending a letter over by messenger to one of those CNN medical professionals out there. Correspondence to him. I told him that he should be really talking to the people who actually go through this damn stuff and not to the educated idiots with the white lab coats or the ones trying to chase the book sales. They really don't know the grieving unless they've been through it and it tears their ass apart and they actually have found their placebo or their Elysium just to get through it. I had to cover mine up. I had to hide from it all. I had to be an emotional robot. Until I lost Ma in 2013. And that was a major blow. And then the final crippling, well, almost two or three crippling blows. Losing a favorite dog, little boy, black and white Papillon. Scrapper Terrier mix. Damn, I love that dog. Suffered through a stroke, literally. And I couldn't help him. Couldn't get him to the vet and pay the damn bills. Till it was too late. Maybe in that essence, I'm praying for God to forgive me. There was no way I could have helped him. There was no way. Should have been. I love that little. There was another thing that my friend, surrogate mother that we knew since '76, time of my car accident. And we're moving from North Hollywood to Arleta. Different section of the San Fernando Valley. Family named the Reeve family. Mother was Dolores Reeve. Longer name. Mary Dolores Buttress Reeve, I think. She became the surrogate mother to me and Dave. Besides being a best friend. Her family is still close to mine. But life happens and we have distances happening. We try to keep in contact, but life keeps us separated. But for a long while we weren't. And we were family. And when I lost Dee, I was really breaking apart. And then Dave had to go. The hardest damn thing I'm waking up to in the early morning hours is Dave's telling me urgently I need to call 911. He can't breathe. In a clear enough sentence. This guy was suffering through aphasia right after a stroke. Kind of screwed around with his mobility a little bit, not to mention his speech patterns. But clear as day, he needed help, and I called 911 on him. The next thing I know, after trying to arrange transportation between, the ambulance ran between home in Rosemont and Lancaster, where Antelope Valley Hospital was at. He died and I didn't even realize it. I didn't hear it. By the time I got through processing and they called me in, he was dead. He just died. All I saw was a corpse littered with tubes. It wasn't there at all. And that's what hurt like a son of a bitch right there. My world died right there. Everything I knew, everything I was, died right there. My brain tried to go on survival mode, trying to get me, someone to get me back home. And then back to the hospital again, collect his stuff and leave again. Not to mention that making arrangements, finding places for crematorium, get his ashes going. Major shock. Mama was something because my brother and I were crying our eyeballs out and it was raining outside. That was Mama's weather. It was sunny outside. There were no clouds, there were no tears. Dave went home. And I was still stuck here. I was still stuck dealing with the reality of it all. I had friends, school friends. I kept in contact. They helped me out with the arrangements regarding my brother's ashes. Even helped pay for them. I'm grateful to them. But not once did I ever have a memorial service for Ma or Dave. Dave and I made a promise to ourselves that we would have an open memorial for Mama. A living memorial, actually. We'd live. We wouldn't be commiserating like crazy. We'd been to a cousin of ours who had passed away. This was well before Mama passed away. And I couldn't deal with it, neither could Dave. But we had to pay our respects because we loved her that much. Her name was Tony Ray. There was a lot of people I didn't recognize over there. But a few of the relatives I did recognize. Everyone else I didn't know. I felt numb. I came over there just to pay my respects, and I wasn't quite sure if I was going to be staying over there long or not. Neither was Dave. After about a couple of hours, we left. And during that time, I was getting the message. The last of her siblings had passed away. That was it. She was broken at that point. There comes a point in a human's life that everything that life throws will break the living crap out of you, and you're supposed to be stronger than that because of whatever things are going around through your head to deal with everything. You can build up the physical strength, but it's the moral, it's the spiritual, it's some kind of essence we have inside of ourselves. But even that cracks and breaks apart. Shatters in the dust. We have to keep picking up the damn dust, microscopic piece by microscopic piece, even quantum pieces if we have to, just to rebuild something. We're not the same anymore. We're not supposed to be the same anymore. We're supposed to be different. Yeah, I'm different, that's for sure. I no longer have the bandages on me that I can now cry at anything and everything at a moment's whim. I am triggered. I am a raw nerve. My squishy brain is susceptible to a lot. I can't stand pain anymore. Oh, I could deal with the pain I've got in my feet that I've been having for nearly 2 damn years. And they hurt like a son of a bitch. Now, sometimes my knees are getting to that point. My back's still killing me at this point. Every so often, I get a side headache on the right side all the time. My heart constantly aches because I constantly strain, and every time I'm crying my eyeballs out. Anything relating to my family, one way or another, images, pictures, either mental or by the five senses, I will go nuts over. I've got pictures on my phone, I got pictures on my laptops that are a constant blaring to me. They're a constant blaring thing to me. Even every time I do logs of these, I'm always doing the cabinet as a reminder. As a blasted reminder that they're no longer here. Exist only in memories and in stories. That there's any bureaucratic paperwork out there that'll have their signature on it, that's it. The remnants of their own existence. And it has to be the stories I have to keep doing because I became the storyteller. Oh, I wanted to write when I was a young kid, science fiction stuff, be good as Asimov, Bradbury, Roddenberry, Clark, Brooks. I wanted to be just as talented as those guys. I didn't think that I would be doing videos about the stories of my family left and right, doing some kind of genealogy with limited history, with limited information except what's coming out of my own damn memories, and whatever I can dig up. The reasons why I keep doing the logs all the time is to keep reliving and retelling the stories and make sure that they're recorded. Scrape up enough funds just to keep the stuff on storage disks, on too many flash drives, if I could afford them all. You think this is easy? You think this is well worth it? It's the only thing I can do at this point, is be the storyteller, is to go on camera and talk about this stuff. I mean, it's one thing if I can lift up the phone and use a phone app and record things and record my thoughts and feelings. I've been doing that for several years now. I'm getting pretty good at it too. Almost on a constant basis, I'm talking about things on there. My life, my thoughts, my wishes, my pains, my griefs, my whatever. Even things surrounding me, even things outside of my sphere of influence. Anything beyond, I'll even record if I have to. But this is my diary. I call it the log report, actually, for myself, but it's still a damn diary. I'm pouring my heart and soul into some of these things. And other times I may be acting like a complete fool and idiot because I've got my senses with me and I'm talking in probably either gibberish or I'm talking in complete sentences, which is also gibberish half the time. Forcing myself to live, to survive. Because I know what the alternative is. And a long time ago, at 4 years old in a higher operating table, I wanted to go. I wanted to stay up in heaven and deal with that. I was home. But now, after so many years, I've got 53 coming up. Years of survival from the operating table. 53 years. And I still got a scar in the chest, fading out pretty damn fast throughout the years. But it's still there. Now it's a nice tiny thing. When I was a lot smaller, it was a lot larger. I'll tell you one thing. 4 years old, they stapled it together. They stapled the skin together. And after weeks of recovery, they used a staple remover. They were surprised what kind of language I learned at the age of 4 years old from listening to everybody around me. Family, strangers, friends, didn't matter. Whatever was mean, nasty, hurtful, painful, ugly things to say, oh my God, I was a library. Screw the dictionary. I was your thesaurus. And the surgeon cardiologist who stayed with me all the way until I was 18, well, he was not surprised. My mother was having a field day over this. And he's saying, Marianne, don't. He's just expressing his level of pain right now, and it's a good thing. She's looking at me almost like, how did I create this thing here? He's saying all these things. Yes, because he's in a lot of pain right now. Let him. That's all I could do is just scream and yell and curse like crazy. If I was going to be cursing at God, I probably cursed him too. Or cursed at him. I guess maybe I'm still dealing with a lifelong of penance on that one. I probably am. I've done a lot of stupid things in my life, but I've also done other things that weren't so stupid. Other decisions that had to be made. Maybe a lot of people will find this boring as hell. I don't give a shit. I'm telling it as it is. I'll do another log when I can. For right now, I'm crashing out. When I get this damn depressed and my body's telling me to shut down so I can take at least a couple hours of nap and then wake up and then just deal with everything else, it's something I have to do right now. So, yeah, I'm crashing. Well, hopefully it means I'll be getting up again and not worrying about what happens afterwards. So, we'll do another log when we can.